Good evening, B.
Good evening, M.
It's a beautiful evening in Belgrade, Serbia after quite a show.
Well, yeah, I couldn't see that beautiful evening because of this infernal thunderstorm that sunk half of the city.
I don't live in that particular part of the city, so it was pretty light for me. Fun, though.
Yeah, I have gathered 7 pairs of pure animals and 2 pairs of each impure animal.
Well, you're definitely ahead of me, but to be honest, it wasn't that bad. You can get those animals home.
I like having Komodo dragons.
Be safe, little opossum. Yeah, but anyways, I apologize up front if you hear some background noise. It's very hot in my apartment right now, and of course we're not recording this in a studio. So I have to keep the windows open, and since I live in that strange part of the city, you might hear fire anywhere from fireworks to people yelling at each other or a random dog barking or something like that. So, just be ready for it.
These sounds only happen in the strange parts of the city.
Absolutely. But I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Is now the time when we talk about your favorite topic?
The banning of people.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
In nomine banane.
So, banning, censoring, reporting, exposing,
Destroying.
ganging on people online.
Yes.
So, let's start by making it known that B has an online community and a YouTube channel, maybe a couple of them, God knows what kind of projects he has that I'm not aware of, but...
I was an administrator of an Orthodox forum.
Was that Christian Orthodox?
Yes, that kind of Orthodox.
Could have been, like for Jews or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm a member of every Jewish forum.
Exactly, one might be surprised, but you were often in position of having to, let's put it like this, deal with people online.
Oh yes, that is one of my last remaining sadistic glees.
You told me in confidence that you actually like to ban people online.
I didn't tell you in confidence, I just blurted it out for everyone to see and hear.
How about you tell us, when I say us, I mean the listeners and myself, why do you enjoy banning people online?
Well, it's quite simple, Em, and I have essentially one rule for banning people. Well, 2 rules. 1, I ban people who are obnoxious, and it is pure pleasure. Banning obnoxious people, it is one of those pure experiences that every person should experience for themselves. I think it is good for the organism, for your overall state of health, for your wellness. Everyone should be able to ban an obnoxious person here or there. And the other kind of people that I don't like are Nazis in their many faceted forms. I ban those without apology as well.
So, you enjoy drinking the ban nectar?
Oh yes. On the Orthodox forum, we used to call it to give someone a banana. Get it? Ban-ana.
Actually, I think I remember that forum.
Yeah.
Even though I was not a participant. But I hated the forum. Because there were so many, it just seemed like any other forum. When you're a Christian and you come to a Christian forum, you expect, talk about Christianity, references to, church fathers or talks of events, but...
Yeah, you expect a boring forum.
Okay, that's one way to put it. When you are going to Divine Liturgy, what do you expect?
I expect lasers, I expect steam machines, I expect exotic dancers.
Like Roman Catholics do with their funny flavors of the Mass, right?
I think we just lost 10 subscribers, Em.
It is what it is. 10 out of 20 is a lot, but
Yeah, I think only Jesus has you beat when he told everyone that they should eat his flesh and drink his blood, and everybody was like, bye.
Well, B, you being such a well-read, educated little Christian, everything you say is a Bible reference, you know? But anyways, that forum, you say it wasn't boring, and I can agree with that. It definitely was not boring. But the reason why it was not boring is not, because people were so fun, but because they were constantly arguing with each other, like ecumenist versus zealot, one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
That was literally the way I perceived the entire forum. So I can only guess how much work you had to put into, putting all the fires down and actually trying to moderate that forum.
Oh, no, I wasn't trying to reconcile people and, spread peace and joy. No, I leave that to angels. I did the gritty work of getting my hands soiled with bans. A couple of interesting cases. For example, you mentioned ecumenists and zealots. Interestingly, practically all the people that you would call ecumenists had their public names on the forum. And the zealots always
made up nicknames.
Now, according to the church canons, that is problematic because the rules say whenever somebody accuses a bishop of something, he needs to do it in person, so that if the accusations turn out to be slanderous, that the person would experience the same penalty as the bishop. And what zealots always did was slandering bishops all of the time. Oh, they served mass. Oh, they changed calendars. Oh, they're Freemasons. Oh, they worship literal Satan, and so on.
Can I say something?
You can't worship Satan.
I just wanted to say, talked bad about bishops.
Yeah.
B every single day.
No. I may dislike bishops.
But those zealots.
No. I'm not a hypocrite because my hate of bishops is completely different. My dislike of bishops has to do with their moral qualities.
Oh, zealots were attacking their ecumenist
No,
quality?
they were attacking their orthodoxy. They were bringing into question the validity of their holy mysteries. I never do that.
Oh, so then it's okay. Yes, sure, approved.
Of course, and I do it publicly. Everybody knows who I am. Me, B, right? If you open the telephone book and you turn on the letter B, people think that big B indicates the beginning of the B letter. Names with the letter B, but no,
that's B.
That's
the church
me.
mouse.
That's me.
I kind of suspected that, but I was always wondering why the hell don't you have a phone number?
Well, I'm not going to let crazy people contact me, am I?
Yeah, but anyways, so you share the hate of bishops, but you hate different things about them.
Our hates are very different. Yes.
Yes, very different.
Very different. Yes.
So they were attacking bishops, something you would have never even think about doing.
Never.
And you had to react because this was your role.
Yes, I hated the way they hated bishops.
There's so much hate right now in this conversation that I absolutely need to take a moment.
Okay.
I did it, so that was just a moment.
Good. Anywho, but that wasn't the sole, problematic approach. We also had delirious prophets, a couple of them, like people who would usually start a thread, post large walls of text, all written in caps lock, where they're certain that they're the reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Because, for example, they were born in Banja Luka, and Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem. Banja Luka, Bethlehem. These words only start with your favorite letter, B, but it was enough for this person to be absolutely certain that they were the reincarnation of our favorite Lord.
Yeah, I only met one such person in my life, very briefly. But you say you had many of sorts?
Yeah, we had a couple of them on the forum, and I don't think they were the exactly same person, but their issues were very similar, you know? So we had to put them down.
To put them down in the forum vocabulary would mean ban their account.
Yes, in the forum vocabulary, yes.
But let me ask you this: when you ban them, like block their account, delete them, whatever,
Yeah.
wouldn't they just go ahead and create another account?
Yeah, but we will ban their IPs, and delirious prophets aren't really famous for being especially tech savvy.
Yeah, but
Stop
yeah,
projecting
okay.
your IT skills onto delirious prophets.
Fair enough. So you blocked their IP. That's pretty intense, dude.
Yeah, we had the power, and we were not afraid to use it.
You practically blocked them from using your platform for like 10 days before they get a new IP. Anyways, so you gave me two categories right now. You gave me the zealots,
Yeah,
on the who used to make up nicknames and talk crap about bishops, and then you had delirious prophets who thought they were Jesus. Did you have any conspiracy theorists?
well, we usually had the typical anti-ecumenist conspiracy theorists. You know, the people who believe that the first thing Pope does every morning is, how am I going to destroy orthodoxy, but especially in Serbia?
Yeah.
And then he pets his pet snake and then transforms into a snake.
And wiggles back to bed.
And then conjures the devil or something. But
okay, you do have quite an impression of these people.
But the most difficult case for us was the ecumenists, the final boss. Ah, yeah, you didn't expect that one, did you, Em?
Can you explain?
Well, we had this guy. Sadly, he was very public with his name, so we couldn't ban him on the grounds of him being, anonymous, which is a no-no in the church. So, what was his issue? He started reading theologians, especially Metropolitan Zealots, and he would spam practically every thread with his opinions on whatever the subject matter was, but he would emulate the style of these theologians without him having the actual brains, to come to their conclusions. So it seemed very forced, very fake, and this lasted for years. And whenever, because we had a secret forum on our own forum, only for the moderators and administrators, we would constantly, debate how we have to remove him somehow, but we don't have the rule annoying people will be banned. He was a bit liked among some old members of the forum, but he was very disliked by absolute majority. So we didn't know what to do. One day, the opportunity presented itself because he got into an argument. By the way, before I continue with this, one day he started a thread, something along the lines of my experiences from the Divine Liturgy. So he would describe his experiences from the Divine Liturgy, and one day he wrote, I have never experienced the presence of the holy angels as powerfully as I did today. And one of the priest admins copied that to our administration forum, and he was like, guys, we have to remove this guy. Like, okay, this is getting pretty weird and insane. This is some heavy duty, self-deception. So, but we didn't know what to do. And one day he got into a fight with some other forum member. So one of our moderators deleted his posts and that other member's posts and everything, and he logged the thread. Then the ecumenist, the final boss of that forum, started to threaten the admin. Who are you? Why are you doing this? I'll show you, I'll beat you up and everything. And then the opportunity presented itself. He got the banana.
He threatened to beat someone up? I'm telling you, that's a weird Christian forum.
Yeah, and that is why he got banned, because we're not really into beating up people. But the problem was we didn't want to tell anyone why he got banned, because, it would be kind of problematic if you went around and telling everyone, oh, this specific person was banned because he threatened people. It's not nice. We simply told everyone that we had our own reasons for banning him, which was not really a fortunate solution, but we had to say something.
Who pushed the button?
I don't know exactly. I don't think it was me. I would.
Yeah, you would have probably remembered.
I would have known him. I would have known.
Yeah. So we had the zealots, the delirious, the conspiracy theorist, and the final boss,
the ecumenists. In unison.
But did the forum continue to exist? Did it continue to draw attention of said categories?
Well, as well as I do that. Human stupidity has no bounds, so we always had, some fascinating figures. We even had this guy who, that was so good. I don't think we have banned him, but what he posted was so good, and to this day I regret that I haven't copied it. He wrote this huge thread that was the plan of salvation for Serbia. And it had such gems as, in order to increase fertility rates in Serbia, Serbian Orthodox Church should give 1,000 euros for every baptism it performs. I believe you can think of a couple of issues with that practice. He said that we should build a church at the border of Montenegro, Serbia, and Bosnia, and this church should be the largest Orthodox church in the world. It should be called the Church of Serbian Reconciliation, and it should hold the relics of all Serbian saints. Why? He never explained any of those. Like, why does it have to be the biggest church? There were so many questions you could post about every entry on that plan of salvation.
So he signed it with his name and first name and last name?
No, he just posted the thread, He called the thread plan of salvation for Serbia.
I can imagine what happens when people get bored, and things like that being one of the things that people can come up when they're really, really bored and don't know what to do. Like, I remember this book I was reading. This part of the book was about this Austrian general who became like a consul in a very remote country with, in, let's call it, in the lands of the Orient. And he literally had nothing to do. He was a representative of the Austrian government, right? But he really did not have anything to do. So he was a soldier, and he spent his weeks and months just drawing maps of the area and planning military interventions that would have never happened, right? I can imagine writing that like plan of conquering this small insignificant part of the Orient from all aspects.
Yeah, but I think the issues with a lot of these people is that they never played Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So their mind is allowed to wander, and as my spiritual father used to say, your mind is a dangerous place, never go there alone.
Yeah, no, not without protection.
Oh, never without protection.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that I've concluded about Christians specifically. When there's taking things too far, like fanatic thinking and fanatic acting and stuff like that, nobody beats religious people at that.
Oh,
right? Absolutely nobody and no one. Like when it comes to really pushing things too far, I think that's like top category.
I think there's maybe one category of people that can do that, and that is when you have like people who are devoted to series, games, and when they start developing theories. Like toxic fandoms, for example. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think they can beat this. Like that, it's just my experience, right? From what I've seen myself firsthand, witnessed, and I can just imagine seeing that in an environment which basically makes it easier for you to say and do
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous things, which social media in general does
Yeah.
to us, right? You want to present yourself as your best you, but like almost everybody I know is usually their worst self in social media because they have no breaks, no boundaries, and are in general very different. Or how should I say it? Some of their bad, a part of their bad
Like,
baggage,
yeah,
right?
like their bad romance.
Oh, yeah. Like if you're going to talk about romance in social media, it's usually the absolute pathetic as it can get. But anyways, I'm kind of amazed that you're talking about a forum, specifically of religious people, and you're not talking about conspiracy theorists, especially if it's a Serbian forum. I think like a significant percentage of Serbian people is literally fueled by conspiracy theorists, specifically that have something to do with our country, our people, our church, or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
bear in mind that this was in like 2003, 2004. So the typical conspiracy theories that you had at that time were the different flares of Serbians are the oldest people ever, and that was pretty much it. You didn't have anti-vaxxers, you didn't have flat earthers. You had a couple of harpers or chemtrailers and some, but these were like very few and far in between. So conspiracy theories weren't that much of an issue, but problematic people like who are rude or who take their bishop hate too far, they were a different sort of thing.
Okay, let's let go of the forum. Do you still enjoy an occasional ban here and there?
Oh, do I? You probably because in the case some of our newer audience doesn't know, I have two YouTube channels. And on occasion, I have to ban people.
Poor
Poor
bee.
bee. Yeah, my hair is falling off because of it. It doesn't. Every time I ban someone, it always has to do with me practically being furious the entire day and then simply deciding to ban someone and then feeling great. It's really therapeutic. As I said before, I suggest people do it. For example, I did a series of videos on Corneliu Codranu. He was a leader of nationalistic movement in Romania before Second World War, and contemporary sources call him a fascist, and I tend to agree. But he had a very strong old Orthodox flavor, and of course that he is very popular with online alt-right. Oh man, what did I have to ban? Like, one of the typical comments that I received during that time was like, why are you afraid to speak of the Jews? Their blood is infested with demons. And I'm like, okay, banned. And like, why don't you talk about how mixing races is bad? Bad, more like banned, and so on. That was bad, but I couldn't resist.
Yeah, I just need to, first of all, you mentioning Codriano in the podcast just opens up doors. So I'm inclined to close them. We will not comment on Codriano. You did enough of that.
Oh no, it gets up the views, trust me.
Yeah, but who cares? But anyways, I remember you doing like not one, not two, not three, but I think 4 videos on
If you
this.
want to ruin your Easter holidays, make a series of videos on him and disagree with alt and far right. Oh man, are you in for a ride of your life?
Well, I'll tell you this: you bring these things onto yourself because sometimes I think you create content that aims to trigger
Me?
specific
Never.
groups.
Tall
Yeah, so
houses.
it's so sometimes when people of a specific life views get triggered.
I think I have mentioned this in the previous episode, and if I did, I apologize, but it is so fitting right now. As a friend of mine, Georgie would say, leave a good first impression and then gradually shatter illusions. Because, everybody knows me as this fat, cute avatar on YouTube. Ban, ban, ban!
Well, you're definitely enjoying yourself while doing it.
Actually, all of my projects, besides this podcast, are simply excuses for me to have opportunity to ban people. It's worked like a charm. That is why I picked religion. I tried having channels in beauty and makeup, but it didn't work out. So I'm now a religious person who's trying to ban people, and it's doing great. As you said, religious people take things too far, and I couldn't be happier.
Next step, cooking.
Oh, you don't want to go to the cooking now? That's crazy. I have people that I can't really ban. I call them darts. They're people who simply drop in, say something nasty, and they're never heard of again. Usually it's Roman Catholics are heretics, / Orthodox are going to hell, Catholic priests rape little boys, and things like that. Or X group is going to hell. Whenever Jews are mentioned, it's never a good thing. But there's no practically purpose in banning them because, those people click on a video, they comment something, and off they go somewhere to the far reaches of YouTube to dart some other videos with their profound wisdom.
They're not
No, but whenever somebody says, like, Catholics are heretics, with only that, I usually respond with, "Oh, wow, congratulations. Pope Francis has just become Orthodox along with the entire Catholic Church." Yeah, it's fun.
Give me a sec, I need to check
Of
something.
course. As you know, people, whenever M has to check somebody, it means that he leaves this program unattended. And when this program is unattended, it basically means that I can talk about anything I want. So, I was thinking about talking about tornadoes. Because, see, I have an issue with tornadoes. I like watching tornado videos. I like, for example, simply spontaneously gazing up in the sky and seeing things like, "Oh, there's violent rotation up there." Or whenever I see any little whirlwind, I would say, "Oh, there's a debris cloud, and he's back."
I can only imagine, but still, I'm cutting this from the podcast.
Maybe you don't even have to, but you will.
But anyways, what I wanted to say and reflect on, you were a moderator of an online community, then you created your own online communities.
Yes.
And obviously, you're inherently the moderator
Yes.
of those as well. There are so many situations where you are a part of a community where you don't have those privileges.
Yes.
And, there's obviously in almost every community, there is a way, a tool that you can use to report someone and to ask for action, and it's also being constantly misused by bots.
Oh yes.
It's a specific category here in Serbia, by the way, which we're gonna address sooner rather than later. But I had this brief exchange with someone on Twitter. The first thing that happened is there's this very popular Twitter account, and they tweeted seriously greasy profanities, including that include Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary and different people from the church, but serious profanities, absolutely disgusting things. And this is a popular channel, and I reported them. Right? It's Twitter. You can report them. You can say there's categories, right? Harassment, I don't know, all kinds of misconduct. And then I tweeted I tweeted a screenshot of me doing it. And I got this very interesting comment from a friend of mine, and a pretty cool guy, does pretty cool things, an activist. Also, he's a Christian, an Orthodox Christian, I believe. And he expressed this interesting point of view. He was like, you did not have to report him. You should have muted him, excluded him from getting those things onto your timeline and preventing you seeing that when other people retweet, etc., etc. Because, if you're reporting someone, what are you doing? Why are you attacking their freedom of
True.
speech?
I agree.
And it was such a moment for me because I did not think about it like that. And in reality, he does have the right to talk like that. And, in one of the episodes, we talked about friendships. And, for example, when you're a Christian, you're a friend with an atheist, they might say something inappropriate that, about God, for example. And I personally tolerate that very much, but I didn't tolerate it with this guy. I mean, seriously, it was very profane. Like it was bad. Not something you don't do anything about. But still, now I'm looking at things from a different perspective. In reality, if he wants to say things like that, let him say things like that.
Agree.
And I think I find myself being a bit of a hypocrite when I report him because, somebody might do the same thing to me when I express my point of view. And I wouldn't like that.
Well, true, but you found in that like an opportunity to grow, to see things from other perspective and everything. And besides, I think that reporting should only be used when something illegal is done, not something that necessarily offends us.
Well, unfortunately, where this world is going is basically making some things which are never supposed to be handled by law. Making them legal/illegal.
I agree with that, but that's a sad development.
Yeah, but that's a development that is inevitable. Like, I think it just went too far. Like, we're talking about banning people. There's legislation right now in certain countries that bans people from addressing people in a specific way.
What? Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's like that one of the most ridiculous things, and I don't care if it might hurt somebody's feelings, but one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life is quote unquote respect my pronouns movement.
Oh yeah.
The only question I would like to ask these people, not going into the problems they're facing, right, which are real. Nobody's talking about that. But do you understand there's more languages than just English? And that not all languages work the same? Yeah. And you can't make things up that you are constructing in English. You can't do that with every language. And not everybody can just go ahead and start speaking English. So respect my pronouns means an absolute nothing outside of the scope of the English language. There's this very super famous construct, white male privilege. It doesn't work out of context. It just doesn't. You can't say white male privilege. If I went into an online discussion, and I was in a bunch of them, unfortunately, and if somebody told me I was a privileged white male, I mean, I would have given them such a portrait of my childhood in Serbia, bombs dropping from the sky. It'd be like, privileged white male. What the hell?
Just a quick question. Where was this person from?
Of course, United States.
That's such a huge amount of hypocrisy. Like, I would be very tempted to kick this person in the shin if they told me that in person.
So our next episode, B banned the entire United States of America.
No, just the entire internet. I think that internet is basically the digital Tower of Babel, We need something to mix up the code, in order to save us.
Yeah, don't get me started on the internet from a technical perspective.
We'll add that to our to-do list for the podcast.
Things might be changing with this 5G standard that everybody's talking about. Things might change significantly when you get speeds that are ridiculous. And the tech already exists, but it's a very much an off topic. When I had this interesting conversation on Twitter the other day, if I had the ability to ban this person, I would have done it with my eyes closed, because there's so many people, and when you dig a bit deeper into their online profiles, you will actually notice that all they do, besides, commenting on cat videos and, funny GIFs
Yeah.
and stuff like that, all they do is talk about a very specific narrative. And they let this narrative define them.
Yeah.
Twitter is like such a representative platform of this particular phenomena. It's ridiculous. Like it's so obvious. Everything is so obvious, and you know what to expect. If you see somebody with rainbow colors in their profile, you already know what you're gonna see if you go into their Twitter profile. 99% of their tweets are gonna be about the LGBT community. If you see somebody who has an icon as their avatar, you know that 99% of the things you see in their profile is, talking about their faith and quoting church fathers. And if you see somebody in a jersey, like a sport jersey, you know they're going to tweet about this: football, soccer.
We'll call it football, and I don't care how it's called in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. But, soccer, basketball, NBA, or whatever, it seems to me like they're becoming the topic. They're becoming the narrative. And what completely devastates me is that I keep having exchanges with these people, because even though you absolutely always know what to expect, and I regret the fact that I didn't build Twitter, because I would ban the hell out of each and every one of them.
Do you know that satire site Babylon Bee, based on American satire site The Onion? Babylon Bee is basically Christian version, and it's very good. It's actually very good. When I hear Christian comedy, I would be like, yeah, but it's actually extremely funny. And one of my favorite articles from the site was this piece, whose title was "Study finds that majority of internet traffic is based on rage and hate clicks, and Princess Bride is a bad movie that should never been made." It's so good. Have you noticed how Facebook is sort of dying out?
It's been happening for years.
I personally think that one of the reasons that Facebook is dying out, we have left the banning waters aeons ago.
We are banning Facebook. That's why it's dying.
We are banning the initial subject. So I personally think that there was one very specific moment in time when Facebook started to die. That is when they have reduced just how much the pages appear in your feed. So basically, if you owned a page, for a majority of time, you would have to pay for its posts to be seen. What has this caused? You would have a lot of pages, like I did, who would get no exposure because they didn't want to pay for them. But then you would get these ugly sponsored posts in your feed. I would have so many sponsored posts about rigged soccer matches. Guys, I hate sports. I hate betting. I hate seeing tons of euro bills on somebody's bed who's quote-unquote proving that they have won a bet. And later on, the algorithm has become better. But then again, Facebook is very much mistaken just how much into fitness I am. I mean, I try to get inspired, but that doesn't mean that I want, fitness commercials.
Yeah, I remember this guy tweeting like, "Hey, Amazon, I have bought the freaking toilet. I do not need to buy another one. Stop harassing me with toilet ads, damn it."
Yeah, this is precisely like Gel Apocalypse put it in his Welcome to YouTube video. Hey, do you remember that one My Little Pony video you clicked on accident 2 years ago? Well, now YouTube knows that you want to see more of that, and you have this man like getting buried with ponies.
By the way, when you have kids, when I start YouTube, I had to scroll through rows and rows of Peppa Pig. uh, and Paw Patrol and whatnot to get to the content I want. But anyways, what I wanted to tell you regarding Facebook has been dying out for years, much, way before this, let's call it incident
Good
with pages.
riddance, good riddance. May he die and never resurrect.
It hits me how people are just freaking crazy. Like, Game of Thrones is popular, so everybody's going to Croatia now to, just be there. Machu Picchu is a popular destination. Everybody's gonna go there and like take a piece of it home and just destroy it. So Chernobyl is a popular TV show right now. So you have girls doing naked photos in Pripyat.
Pripyat.
What's the name of the?
Please take something from Chernobyl and end yourself. And everybody around you who made you to be. Like, it's so stupid.
but imagine she's like trying to like I'm doing sexy, and in the background you have this ghost town, everything's like destroyed, and I'm just waiting for somebody to put the Geiger counter in the corner and like show where the needle is. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it's just
sexy
ridiculous. But people don't have limits. They will die for a good selfie.
By the way, speaking of which, there was this artist, I think from Israel, but I cannot be sure. Anyway, he was annoyed with all of the duck faces and sexy poses people were doing in Second World War Memorial in Berlin, I believe.
Duck faces.
You didn't hear that one in a long time, did you?
I did not.
Oh man, it sounds like 2010. And anyway, he got sick of it, and what did he do? He would start taking pictures of people duck facing and dabbing and doing Fortnite dances and whatnot at the memorial. And he would change the background. So instead of the memorial, he would put scenes from Auschwitz. With emaciated corpses, with people starving, looking extremely ill and under the weather, and so on. And I think it was a very, very original way, to get some sense into people.
Anyway, I just wanted to remind everybody that all of our episodes are available on our website, which is churchmouse.show. Again, that is churchmouse.show. Churchmouse Chronicle was just too long. But anyways, all of our episodes are there, and you can comment and leave your thoughts on every single episode. We also now have this community part of the website where you can find where to, follow us on social media. For example, we all our cover arts are going to be on Instagram. We're going to try to put some updates on Twitter and Facebook. You can even leave us a voicemail and the community page, which we are very much looking forward to. Because, you can also tell us if you want to be featured in the podcast when you leave the voicemail, if you want your voice to be heard, and maybe, made fun of.
Oh, by the way, we have received our first voicemail. I'll play it. Hello, I really like B, but I think that M should cut his time. Thanks. Well, thank you, kind listener. But you shouldn't talk. He's my buddy.
My pal.
Whenever I hear as I was walking down the street this couple of days, whenever I think of the words "my pal," I start giggling.
To end on a positive note, B and I are hoping that sometimes we're going to be able to get a producer for this podcast. So that's why we have started a Patreon account. Hopefully, you guys would be willing to support us in the effort to find and finance a producer. Because if we find and finance a producer, we can just keep recording and start recording more often with more quality, not having to spend time producing the show.
And that's a good thing, especially for fans of B.
And that's a good thing for all humanity. And their pets. The outro song, but...
I have the perfect outro. In nomine banane.
That sounds so Roman Catholic. So if you can translate to Church Slavonic,
Vo imя banane.
that's
There we
better.
go.
Talk to you in the
I
next one,
am
B.
banned.
Ba 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 na na. Ba 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 na na. Oh, ba 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 na na.